it's like recommending which stocks to buy, and then it goes bad. It's like, oh no. But I wonder if there's a lot more non-believers than you know about because they're afraid to say anything, like you, right? So they think that you think that. All right. So maybe we can turn this around by just like dropping a few hints now and then, and just say, you know, I don't believe, and then maybe a few other people pop up, and then, yeah, it's hard to do that.
The internet being persecuted, and they say, well, I'm not going to do that. I believe it.
Yeah. Well, okay, we have to turn this thing around somehow. And this has happened already before. All we have to do is model the civil rights movements. And it just begins by saying, you know, I'm really uncomfortable with you saying that atheists are not moral. That's not true. So would you please stop saying that? Because it's not true. Any more than you would say blacks are less intelligent, or women don't have the capacity to be rational voters. Would you say that now? Because, you know, people like you used to say that, and now they don't anymore. Okay, so just don't say that anymore. Just stop. Or maybe they stop. Oh. On the women and. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Well, we stopped at a couple of spots up the road from Panama City with the billboards of the Jesus, one of them was the Jesus sign, and the other one was at the gas station about finding. Yeah, I have them on my iPhone. I'll post them. But I'm sure you've seen them. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this has to change. It is changing. I mean, it's changing elsewhere. I mean, these demographic things shift. I mean, the South used to vote pretty solidly Democrat in Kennedy and Johnson era, and then the religious right got strong. But you know, this too shall pass. I think they went too far with Bush, and there's a little bit of a kickback. I think somebody like Santorum, who's not nearly as overtly religious as Bush is still kind of seen, even in Republican circles, as a little extreme. Mitt seems a little more solidly in the middle there. And although it's nice that Mitt is willing to say, I won't bring my Mormonism into the White House, that's admirable. But what else does he believe if he's willing to believe the stuff about Joseph Smith getting the revelation from God, about the polygamy thing, you know, just as he had a new girlfriend. Honey, I was talking to God, and you wouldn't believe what he said. You know Mary Lou down the street? He said I have to be with her. A man's got to do what his God wants him to do. So, and 47 wives later, because there's certain things that are unsatiable for men. And does he believe in that Joseph Smith translated these golden tablets from ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics into English by burying his face in a hat with magic stones in him? Okay, so what'll probably happen is no one will ask him that, because that's considered disrespectful. But if Romney said, okay, here's my solution to immigration, all those Mexicans coming across the border, I'm going to build an invisible fence. I'm going to pray about it, and God's going to build an invisible fence, and it won't cost taxpayers anything. How long do you think the media would let him get away with that? He would be off the ticket in a New York minute, right? So, but we need to ask questions like that. You know, push it a little bit. Yep.
Yes, sir. Your last part that you read in your book kind of sums it up for me in a way. And listening to what Daniel Bennett has to say about consciousness. And as you wake up in the morning and you begin to become conscious, could you go into that somewhat as you are learning something new, as you're, who are you and what is your consciousness?
Right. Yeah, nobody knows this. Yeah, if you've read Dennett, you know that his book, Consciousness Explained, didn't. It's really just consciousness discussed. And that book is now like 30 years old, and we're still not there. Okay, so I think the solution is going to come from the bottom up. I think it's scaling up from single neurons to neural networks to sequences of neural networks firing in these certain patterns, computer modeling is the preferred choice of research now by cognitive neuroscientists who study this. They don't really have wet labs anymore, they have computer labs. And so they're modeling it by trying to see how patterns generate more complex thought processes. Like Watson. You know, Watson who won Jeopardy, he beat Ken Jen. Do you think Watson knows that he won Jeopardy? You know, did he think, yes, I won, I beat Ken Jen, oh yeah, yay. Well, anyway, at the Singularity Summit there, Ferrucci, the IBM scientist who built Watson, was there. So I asked him that because I always use that line. Do you think Watson knows that he won Jeopardy? So I asked him, do you think Watson knows that he won Jeopardy? He goes, yeah. I said, no, really? He goes, yeah, I told him. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, right. So the problem is huge, you know, about the famous article by Nagel, What's It Like to Be a Bat? Well, the only way to know is you'd actually have to have the sonar apparatus and the wings and all the organs and the muscles and tendons and nerves that run the wings and the sonar and the receptive device. You'd be a bat. And you would no longer be thinking, what's it like to be a bat? You'd be thinking, what's it like to be a bipedal primate? Or whatever you'd be thinking. Well, you wouldn't be thinking that. So that's the problem. You can't, it's not possible to know in any capacity. So we're stuck with even just scaling up from single neurons firing to complex neural patterns. No matter how good at that we get, it's still not going to explain what's called the qualia, the qualitative experience of just being alive, of being awake, of redness or carpetness or whatever, what that actually feels like or looks like. That we can't explain. It may just be like an epistemological barrier, a gap, an abyss that we can't cross. I don't know. Well, I do know what one answer is. Tomorrow night I'm having dinner at Deepak Chopra's house in Carlsbad, California. And he's got, so Saturday and Sunday, me and Leonard Mlodinow and a few other scientists are meeting with the sages. It's a scientists and sages meeting. Anyway, Deepak likes this. Well, okay, so it's a quantum consciousness thing. So quantum physics is going to explain this gap. The gap will be leaped across by quantum physics. Okay, well, I'm skeptical, to say the least. Okay, yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Juan I'm with CIFA, and I'm a 20-year-old military, 20 years in the military, and I've been an atheist the whole time, and you can imagine how much fun that's been.
Yeah.
Well, I posted something on Facebook yesterday, and this kind of falls along the line of what you've been discussing today. A friend of mine posted that people in Maryland were stupid for legalizing gay marriage, and I really just wanted to know, why would somebody say people are stupid for legalizing gay marriage? And you can understand, I have a mixture of friends in there, and it devolved into this Godfest. What makes somebody want to project their belief? I can understand when somebody believes something, okay, cool, you can believe that in your compound or whatever it is you live in. But why do you think we should all fall under that standard? What makes somebody want to project their beliefs on a population that's non-believing?
That's right. Well, because what I said before is that it's not just that those other guys are wrong and they have the wrong data or whatever. It's that they're immoral and bad and evil. And we have to fix this so that they don't bring the rest of us down. It's like the free rider problem. We can't let too many of these free riders go. So people in other tribes see people in our tribe as evil, not just wrong, but evil. And so, if you legalize gay marriage, before you know it, people are going to be marrying their cattle. What? I mean, where is this happening? Who wants to do that? Right? But nevertheless, that's sort of the sort of emotional argument that's made. I mean, you would think that the evolutionary logic you would think would lead particularly guys, to say, great, that takes 2 more competitors out of the pool of competition for women. Yay! Right? But that isn't what happens. It is definitely a deeper disgust emotion associated with disgust. That it may be related to the so-called yuck factor that people talk about, ooh, like kissing your sister, something like this, like an incest taboo kind of thing. Maybe something related to that. It's just, we're so close to it, it's hard to take the bigger perspective of where this will go, but I am predicting that within 2 decades, I mean, I've been saying this for 5 years away and always will be because it's been a while. But I do think we're getting there. And then, say, 25 years, we'll look back at the gay marriage debate like we now look back at the black and white drinking fountains. And when we look back at that, we just think, what were those people thinking? I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's stupid. And I think that's where we'll be. And here's my other prediction. The Christians are going to take credit for the gay marriage revolution. They will. They'll find some Episcopalian minister that stood up for gay marriage, and they'll go, see, that was our guy. We had him in there. We led that revolution, like the slavery thing. We got William Wilberforce. He led the slavery abolition movement in England, and he was a deeply committed Christian. That's true. But all the opponents to it were also deeply committed Christians who cited Bible verse, chapter and verse in favor of slavery.
How long do you think the Pope will come out to say it's okay?
The Pope? Well, they're a little slow to change. They did exonerate Galileo in 1993, 300 plus years after the fact. Nevertheless, that's progress. We're getting there. There was another thing about the gay marriage thing I was going to say. Let's see. I forget. Well, anyway, I guess that's my prediction on that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm sure you've thought about this at length as well, but the role of religion in stirring up populations to make war upon one another. How do you feel about that? How do you think about that in terms of, from a societal impact, and how can we keep it from happening in the future?
Right. Wars and religion. Well, here again, I would give a shout out to my friend Steve Pinker and recommend his book, The Better Angels of Our Nature. It's the most comprehensive book I've read on sort of the psychology, anthropology, and sociology of war and violence. And religion's not the only. Religion is a minor part of the problem. Conflicts usually have to do with other things, that religion becomes a way to justify the land grabbing, the power hunger, or whatever. So it's a part of it for sure, and it would be better if people weren't religious, so that excuse couldn't be used. But the Hutus and the Tutsis, no problem distinguishing between the two. Wasn't religious at all. And they demonized each other. It's easy to do. I can't tell them apart, but they sure can. And so, unfortunately, one of our really good talents we have is pigeonholing entities into different species of essence. We can divide things up and really categorize them beautifully. And this is something that's really good to do. I mean, this is what science is all about, right? Is quantifying things and so on. Unfortunately, we're also good at doing that with people and putting them into different categories that are other tribes, and then making them animal-like. That's why all the tropes are they're cockroaches, they're vermin, they're disease, because we have a natural evolved emotion of disgust associated with disease and vermin and cockroaches and things, snakes, things that are dangerous, right? So politicians know how to do that. So it's not just religion. The problem is much broader than that. But again, the news is good. It's getting much better. Peter Singer's metaphor, the expanding circle of sentiments. The number of people we count as an honorary member of our tribe has been growing steadily for 500 years. Thanks, I think, in most part to the Enlightenment revolution that led to the humanitarian revolution and ultimately the rights revolutions. So reason, empiricism, science, actually thinking about things rationally is a big